Hello, friends and gamers. My name is Jinx, and welcome to Operation Hats. It is January 1941, the German 10th turn. Thank you all for watching this video, subscribing, commenting, guys. I do appreciate it. It's nice to have a little community around watching something that I enjoy making. I appreciate it. I know I've been slipping a little bit with the thumbnails. I'll get around to it eventually when things slow down, but for right now, they're just as is. So, guys, let's take a look at what occurred in the previous turn, number 9. On the turn number 9, the Germans did a strategic bombing run on this factory here in London and took about 12 damage against it and reduced it down to just bricks and mortar. That's pretty good for us. And then the Commonwealth was devastated on their convoy routes and reduced down to income. I think it was about $5 left in the treasury by the time the turn came around. Collectively, the Italians and the Germans worked them down. I think it took off collectively about $20 off them by the time the turn came around. So good stuff for us, I suppose. And what else did they do? Well, the Deutsches Afrika Korps came to Nubia to help support the Italians in this area, and we did a little strategic bombing run on this factory to cut the Lend-Lease route to Abyssinia. But that's about it. Nothing too much occurred else for the Germans rather, except they completed their navy. So 2 battleships, 3 heavy cruisers, and 2 transports put into the water. Pretty happy about that. A nice sizable fleet. And that concludes the German turn. The Nationalists didn't do too much. They didn't score on their recruitment roll. Neither did the Vichy, and we turn our attention to the Soviets and the Comintern. Now, the Comintern are run by 5-star General. I've played many games with 5-star General. I like him a lot, and I hope to play many more games in the future. He's just a really easygoing guy, pretty calm, doesn't get too excited about stuff, but really smart and clever and knows his stuff really well. I would advise people, if you get a chance to play with 5-star General, you should. He's a very well-spoken gentleman. He does great work. Now, the big news from the Soviets is that they broke a secret treaty that we had in place, and not the Molotov-Ribbentrop Pact, the Brest-Litovsk protocols. Back in the early stages of the game, I think even turn number 6, somewhere there, maybe even earlier, maybe turn 5, after the Spanish Civil War was concluded, and I think roughly around the time Slovakia collapsed and was aligned to the German cause, maybe turn number 7, 8, 7, I think it was, we signed the Brest-Litovsk protocols. I was approached by a 5-star general saying that he's been doing some thinking and was saying that it'd be interesting to play a game that's a little out of the ordinary, and he said how he had ambitions towards building a Soviet empire, very Trotskyist in nature, where he would not only capture Finland and Iran, but he had ambitions towards Africa, and of all things he mentioned building up a fleet, parking it in C-Zone A44, and capturing Uruguay and South America. And that sounded very thrilling. You know, I've played about 20-odd games, maybe even 30 at this point, of Global War 36, and I don't know, I might be just too creative. You know, I'm a bit of a creative mindset, but for me, if a game is a little bit unique and different, it's a lot of fun. So for me, I was tickled by that idea, and so we kind of talked a little bit more and shared some more ideas around, and eventually it signed itself into the articles called the Brest-Litovsk Protocols. This, in my mind, was going to be a long-standing pact, a treaty between the two of us, a non-aggression treaty, where we would have spheres of interest, where the Germans would say, we'll capture all this area in Europe, the Italians will grab some territory in Africa, and the Soviets will grab Iran, will grab Finland, and if they make any ambitions abroad into foreign territories on other continents, then we'll let them be the entire length of the turn. That was the Brest-Litovsk protocols, that regardless of what ambitions, what they would pick up in foreign territories, in Australia, South America, wherever it is, we would allow those nations to keep it the entire length of the game. We would unopposedly, regardless if the treaties were in place or not, we would allow them to grab it. And I was pretty happy about that idea because it allowed 5-star general to play around a little bit more on the global scale and have some fun there. Of course, I did express to him that he's not going to get too many victory points if he's running around the world, but he didn't seem too bothered by that idea. And I thought in the late third or last third of the game, then the treaty would break down and we'd have a final struggle for a couple victory points back and forth along this border, and hopefully somebody would win out of the deal. That was my kind of ambition of what it would look like. But unfortunately, as soon as it was signed, we turned our attention to going after the British, building up a massive fleet that I'm quite proud of even to this day. 3 battleships and 3 heavy cruisers is a nice fleet for the Germans. We went and assisted and built a lot of submarines as well. We assisted the Italians in the Mediterranean. We sent a nice sizable Deutsches Afrika Korps over here to help hold down the North African colonies. Just did quite a lot of stuff and disposed of our income in other parts of the world, but left our eastern flank wide open. And so as soon as the Soviets picked up Finland and Iran, they decided that now is a good time to conclude the protocols. And I feel like I'm kind of left holding the bag, a bag of dreams and ambitions of what the world could look like. And now we're left with kind of a classic game where I'm kind of stuck in an awkward place with nothing much on the Eastern Front. So I don't blame 5-star General, because at the end of the day, it is a tournament. He is trying to win as much as possible. But I do feel at the end of the day, we should have talked a little bit more. I'm not much of a bluffer. I don't really bluff too much. I usually talk things through. It's a friendly game for me. So I don't know. It was one of those things. I do feel a little bit bummed out about that the protocols couldn't be in place a bit longer, because really at the point when the Soviets were out of danger, that they didn't have to worry about German invasion. And as soon as the German income was put into a battle fleet, then they're like, all right, well, we're kind of done with the protocols, and they went on to do their own things. Especially considering written into the protocols was this idea that the Soviets had to go and push into Maharashtra before they did some more ambitious duties in Turkey and the like. And so that's kind of the way things shook out. So yeah, it's unfortunate that they broke apart. I totally get it from 5-star General's perspective that he has to go for the victory points. It is a tournament after all. It's just it's something that I do feel I was a bit bamboozled by. But again, I don't hold any ill will towards 5-star General. It's more against my naivete that I perhaps, if I want to play a different game with more freedom to do diplomatic things and explore the map and conquer foreign parts, perhaps I should play a different game, right? So I'm more irritated at myself as opposed to 5-star General. So there's that. So that all being said, I really do appreciate 5-star General. I would happily play many more games in the future with him, but for right now, lesson learned for right now. Don't sign treaties that might not be beneficial. That's the thing, though. I tried to write it in such a way that'd be beneficial for both parties, even to the point with foreign conquests, in other parts of the world, and even in regards to navies, saying that if all the other items on the protocols are kept, then we're not going to attack each other's navies, even when the protocols dissolve for 2 turns. Now, the way it stands right now is the Russians decided on their turn to break down the protocols, to withdraw from them, and by the stipulations of the treaty, we get a full turn. The Russians don't get to attack me for 1 full turn, and neither do I get to attack them for a full turn either. So I can't attack them on this turn, but on this subsequent Soviet turn is when they can attack me. So that's the idea there. All right, gentlemen, and that's about it for the Soviets. And like I said, no hard feelings, 5-star. It's just what it is. I'm a little bit bummed out, but hey, I'll get over it. It's one of those things. All right, what did the Soviets do? Well, they stacked up some forces in Crimea. They have two Marines. They have 3 aircraft. In Transcaucasus, they have 2 airborne units. So collectively, they have about 6 land units and 3 aircraft they can swing in and hit any area adjacent to the Black Sea. Bessarabia, Central Romania, Bulgaria, and even the Turkish areas as well. Now, all this is worth quite a bit of resources to me. It's worth about $7 to me, which is about 1/10 of my income, so I don't want to lose that. So I'm going to fight hard to keep that. So I need to shore up the defenses on my southern flank, especially since it's mountains. Once the enemy captures it, it's going to be hard to recover. So I'm going to be sending some troops over here. But apart from that, the Soviets didn't do too much. They have a bunch of money that they're putting away each and every turn. They have $94 in this to spend in the subsequent turn. As for the CCP, they have done some ambitious moves themselves. They've suddenly risen right up and got quite a few forces there. They've got 5 infantry, 2 mountain artillery, and an anti-aircraft gun, a sizable force to be contending with, and so they are now in a strong position here, scaring the Japanese to kind of reinforcing Shanxi. Rightfully so. The Japanese went ahead and captured Xinjiang. The Far East is kind of quiet, and that's a good thing too. Both parties have other attentions they need to spend elsewhere. And otherwise, things have been kind of quiet. The KMT have captured Xinjiang from the CCP, so just minor little border little fights, but the Japanese themselves have been kind of quiet, stacking up their forces in Siam. I think this is about 15 units parked over here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. 16 units in Siam, 17 if you include the militia. And their fleet is all in the South China Sea, so doing quite nicely for themselves there. A sizable fleet too. And that's about it. Turning our attention to the Anzac, they're defending their victory point here in Sydney. It's worthwhile. And in Calcutta, the FEC is defending their victory point here quite nicely as well, with a sizable force that really is huge if you think about it. Like, that's a lot of troops. I say this every turn, but he really ramped up pretty quickly. And then in Malaya, there's a nice force there too. With the coastal gun and fortress, it's a nice sizable force to contend with. The Free French on this side are sizable for their own part. There's about 11 units here that can reach out in any direction, and they're probably going to hold on to this Italian victory point for the entire duration of the game, I suspect. So they're doing quite nicely for themselves, and they recaptured Cameroon from Vichy France, so their income is now at 4 to the Vichy's 3. The South Africans have stacked up in Cape Town because the Italians are coming around the corner, and maybe they're going to go for Cape Town next turn. We'll have to see what occurs on the British turn. But their Italians are right here. The Italians, for their part, are hiding in the Mediterranean because the British Commonwealth have something like 23 combat-ready units in the Mediterranean ready to go, and the Italians have 10 ships plus a few subs. But you know, they're really quite weak relative to what the British have. The British have all big boy stuff. They have 3 battleships, a battle cruiser, 5 heavy cruisers, 3 light cruisers, and 1, 2, 3, 4 destroyers, plus they can scramble out with the coastal defense ship. Just a sizable force to contend with, and it's a little hard for the Italians to gain any ground in this theater. So they're just hiding out in the Red Sea until or unless an opportunity strikes. They might just continue on hiding, really, at this point. We'll have to see how it goes, especially as the Americans, having increased their income, can now go and do some escorting duty in the Atlantic. And they have 2 aircraft carriers, 2 battleships, 2 heavy cruisers, 5 destroyers, and 2 light cruisers. And that's the bulk of the American fleet. So the 2 big fleets here, the Allies, the Americans and the Italians, yeah, they're matching up with what the Germans and the Italians have to offer with plenty to spare. And the Americans are trickling more ships into the Atlantic as well. And I've seen him counting out some troops on the Pacific side to measure out how far he can get into this theater. So I suspect we're going to see this strategy by the Allies to go after Germany first, which is going to be particularly gruesome because Germany is devoted to the Brest-Litovsk protocols a sizable chunk of its fleet into the Atlantic, and combining that with the strong Soviets on this side, will be pinched between a rock and a hard place, an anvil and a hammer, and it'll be really rough for the Axis Western powers here to do much against it. So that's kind of what we're dreading for the near future, but we'll have to see how that pans out for us. For right now, I think that sums up the entirety of what occurred in this past turn. Let's turn our attention to the technology quickly. We had 4 techs, we had 3 successes, advanced artillery, heavy armor, wherever it is, and we moved up our long-range aircraft. And now we go to production. We have 68 bucks to spend. These underneath the pink are just to add up the numbers to 68. We're getting 5 infantry, 2 airborne, 1 marine, 1 free blue division, 3 militia, 1 militia upgrade, an anti-aircraft, minor factory, Italian fighter, and 2 Tiger tanks, meaning it's up to 68 is what that is. Good stuff. All right, now for our combat moves, we have a submarine coming in from P50 to the Timor Sea in P63, doing a convoy raid. The battle cruisers coming up from Australian coastline to I-7, convoy raid there. Seaplane from Madagascar to the Gulf of Aden to do a convoy raid there, and the submarine in Cape of Good Hope to do some convoy raiding on station there. The Deutsches Afrika Korps is going to move 2 spaces down to Belgian Congo through the Sudan here, and going to capture this Belgian Congo from the Brits. And we're having a medium bomber from Lower Egypt to do a bombing run on this French Somaliland port. A raid in Mediterranean from the submarine from M8 to M4. Up in the Atlantic, we have 2 submarines going to M3, plus a destroyer from the English Channel going to engage these 2 destroyers. And then we have a submarine from A19 plus the 2 advanced subs from A11 to A21 doing a convoy raids here. And then we have 2 airborne units dropping off in Scotland. And from I'm not going to go in with this fight. I don't think it's worth it. Scratch that one. We're going to remain on station for these guys. Okay. And then the big one. Let me just zoom out here for a second. I think I got it all. If not, we might just have to, whatever I marked in red is an attack. So, and then the big attack, our fleet here is going to do amphibious assault, picking up these units and dropping off in northern England. Now, this British submarine is going to cause some hindrance because it could pop up at any point. So Devik will have to look at this and decide what's appropriate, what's illegal, what's not, and tell me. So we're sending this battleship plus 3 transports and a torpedo boat destroyer to A23, picking up some additional units and coming up to A6. And what we're picking up is 2 tanks, 1 infantry, And then from northern Germany, there's 3 Marines. So it might be a little risky. Now, Davik is scrambling his 3 fighters from southern England into the fight. So I'll have to see how that goes. I suspect he's... it's going to be a close one. When I math this one out, I don't think I'm going to win it. And even if I do win it, I'm probably not going to hold it. So let's start with our con rating here. Red dice is the attacker, blue the defender. Both of us get +2 modifiers, so it negates itself. Let's roll this one out. 5-5. Nothing there. The battle cruiser here. Now in this one, the opponent gets a +1 to the defense roll. And he didn't need it. He succeeded quite handily. Now we have the seaplane. Nothing there for us again. Then we have this submarine off the coast of Cape of Good Hope. Nothing there. This is quite grim for us. Let's go with this bomber. Attempted to hit this French Somaliland. I don't know if I do the damage first or he gets to roll first for his AA defense. Let's just roll the AA defense first. So he succeeds out of 3. Hold on. I'm always worried that this is gonna roll funny. 7. 5. Five damage. So far, we've had really bad luck with our con rating rolls. Let's see if it changes in the Mediterranean. Nothing. And then we have up here. Now, granted, of course, he has radar, so it's like a even chances. Nothing there for us. Okay. Now this is the last chance. There's something. That's 5 damage. Because we get +3 because we have advanced subs. Plus we're with other ships. So it stacks like other subs. So that's 5 there. And a last roll. Maybe this will get lucky as well. Please, no. Okay, we got 3 there. So that's only $8 of damage against the enemy. Not horrible, but you know what? It's what it is. It's what it is. We can't take wins everywhere we go. So $8. Yep, $8. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. He still has $7 to spend on the next turn. All right. Now we go for this battle here. So we have a destroyer, our destroyer. Hold on. We're going to change the color of these dice. With red being our heavy attacking force, or a higher number. And yeah. So our 2 subs are orange, rolling at 3s, and destroyer at 4, rolling a red. Nothing there for us. And our opponent rolling 4s. Yeah, 1 hit. Okay, we're going to continue on round 2, although now things aren't looking so good. Nothing there for us, and our opponent rolling 2 dice. It's probably going to slaughter us. Nothing there for him either. Maybe I could roll them collectively. Nothing there for anybody. Nothing there again. All right. There's a hit. 1 hit. 6 and a 12. All right. So now we're back in the running. Oof. And now here we have 3 hits. So we survived with 1 submarine. I think we're going to take off a submarine. And collectively we wiped each other out. So that's not horrible. It could have been much better, but oh well. It's what it is. All right. And now for this attack here. Into the mainland there. So I'm going to duplicate this red dice, and that will stand in for our battleship. Doing our shore bombardments. The red is our battleship, and the heavy cruisers are orange. And it looks like the dice got stuck. Okay, so we got 1, 2, 3 hits. 3 hits is good. That's preemptive, so that's always nice. So we're going to take off the AA and 2 militia. And now we go into the combat proper with 4 of our units rolling at 2. Oh, those dice got stuck. Of course. Sorry. This one's a 2, so there's 1 hit there. All the other ones are misses. Alright. And the opponent has 1 militia and 3 aircraft. Militia being the purple. Oops, got stuck again. I made the dice tower smaller, that's why things are getting stuck. Okay, so they scored 2 hits. 2 hits on us and 1 against them. So we take off their 1 militia and we lose 2 of those guys. And now we're faced off with 4 of our units. 1, 2. What happened to those red dice over here? I think I deleted them. Okay, so the pink stands in for our dice 2s and a reds for our medium armor that managed to land. And we did 2 damage against the enemy, and now the 3 enemy aircraft roll against us. With no hits. Nice. Okay. Maybe I'll roll these all together. Nothing for the enemy and 2 scores for us. So we managed to wipe out their units. One of our Marines survives. And both our tanks survive. So that's quite nice. I was a little bit disillusioned by this turn with how poorly this went and how poorly my con rating went, but this is a nice turnaround for us that we managed to scrape by with a little bit extra in our belts, under our belts. Okay. Now the big question is, well, we'll get to the big question a little later. But there we have it. I think that's it for all of our combat moves. Let's go and adjust our income. So we went up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for the Congo here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And just incidentally, I'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And the British go down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to 15. And that loses them 5 positions as well. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. Alright, so now the non-combat moves. These ones are all done. This medium bomber went 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it lands back here. This seaplane can go 1, 2, land back here. This airborne unit can move 1 space up to Upper Egypt. These 2 infantry are going to be loaded on this transport and dropped off in Syria. Yeah, this transport. This infantry is going to march up to Syria. We're going to send this rail is going to come up to Syria as well. Then these 2 units are going to come across from Lower Egypt to Western, from Western Egypt to Lower Egypt. And then we have, I think that's it. That's it for our moves here. Okay, good, 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 good. Then we have in this neck of the woods from southern Italy to Sicily, 1 unit's coming down. I'm going to move from Lazio to southern Italy, 1 unit, and from, I think we'll leave Lazio open to the enemy attack. Ah. No, we'll leave one guy back. Yeah. In fact, we'll send another infantry to that position. No, it's worthwhile keeping it here. All right. Is it though? Because I'm gonna, yeah, I don't think I need to. One infantry to Lazio. Yeah, we'll leave it at that. Okay. This destroyer is going to come into port in northern Italy. And then we need to shore up our defenses over here. One infantry from central Romania to Bulgaria. 2 cavalry coming across into central Romania. 2 from northern Italy into eastern Yugoslavia. 1 from Switzerland into western Yugoslavia. We're going to send... Well, before I forget, this Vichy airplane is going to fly over to southern France. Yeah. I think so. Nah, forget it. Am I? I don't know how southern France works, if that's their capital or not. Let's leave it here. Okay, this fighter is going from northern Germany to there. The tactical bomber and this fighter is coming to here as well. We need to hold off any potential bombing of this factory here of the Italians. They have very little income to spare to even repair it, so we have to do what we can to hold off the enemy. And we're going to rail some units. So from Paris, we're going to send 2 infantry to Bulgaria. Hold on to our southern flank. We're going to send from Berlin to Warsaw, 1 infantry. And from Belgium to Königsberg, 1 infantry as well. And that does it for that one. Then we have 3 light mechanized vehicle class coming to Dolna Alaska from western Germany. And this transport's going to drop off an infantry in southern Norway and come back to western Germany once again. Then we have a medium army going to come across to Belgium. And this coastal defense ship is going to risk going past this submarine and going to A11. He has the option of striking us as we go by. And honestly, I think that's it. Oh, we have 1 infantry coming to West Poland. We need to kind of build a vague front line here anyways. And I think that's it, guys. I can't see anything else that needs to be done. Cool. Oh yeah, this fleet here. What to do about it? What to do. Because there's 2 options. Move them all into port. If I move them all into port, I would have a lot of ships. A lot of ships in port. I would have 6 ships in port, which is 6 militia. Plus I'd have these 2 units and the marine. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3. But he can soak it up with this. I think I might, because if I don't move them to port, he'll just attack me. I don't think there's anything... The downside, of course, is if the Russians get involved in some fashion. Let me think about it a little bit more. All right, place unit phase. Okay, we're going to grab our stuff. Like this. Bring him a little closer to where the action is. Somewhere here, maybe. Okay, the Italian fighter arrives at its obvious destination. I don't know if I needed this much aircraft, come to think of it. Oh well, it's down there anyways. It's not like I could undo then leasing them a unit. Alright, building a couple airborne units here. And on these guys. And Now, oh yeah, we get our free blue division over here. An anti-aircraft gun we're going to put in Romania. Hold on to that area. We're going to put our militia and a militia upgrade. We need to shore up our southern flank here too. So our militia upgrade is going to go here. Militia and militia upgrade. And we're going to build a militia. Sorry, one of those is a militia upgrade. We're going to build a militia here and a militia in Syria. And we're also going to build a miner factory in Syria. And then we have a few dudes left over. A bunch of them, actually. Nice. We're going to build an infantry here. A tank here. Actually, hold on. How many do we build here? We build 1, 2, 3. Oh, that's interesting. Okay, maybe I won't build these here. These 2 airborne units. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 right here. And then these guys, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'll build them, I'll put them here too. Maybe here might be better. And if it's cool with my opponent, I'm going to get in there. Gonna non-combat move this guy there. Okay, and these guys here. That makes 5. I built 5 there. Okay, I'll build 1 there. Actually, you know what? 1 in Perry, I think. And then 1 here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, and this other tank, I suppose I'll build it in Bohemia. I already built 1 in Paris. No, I'll build it. Sorry guys, I really shouldn't. You know what? It might actually have to be built in home territory. But I don't think I have a choice in that one. So we'll build it here. Oh, sorry, we'll build it there. Alright, and I think that about covers all our builds across the board. What we can do, what we can move, I can safely delete all the writing. And now we look at this situation here. What to do with our fleet. Should we move them in port or not? And that's the big question. Well, definitely we don't need the transports in port. Definitely not the transports, and they don't need to be faced against the enemy, because the enemy's got nothing in range for us. So we're left with these guys here. I'm going to just pause the recording and give this a quick think. It's either that or delay, or do it after, like post-fact. Let me just pause it. Okay, so I gave it a quick think. I'm pretty, it's 3:30 this morning. I haven't slept yet. So I don't know if it's a good decision or not. I'm going to leave them out in the water. It seems to be safer. I know it means I risk losing all this, but right now it seems like the safer choice to do. Although if I put him in there, I could devastate his forces. There's always that odd chance that there's something I haven't seen, and I could basically see all my forces scuttled. So I'm not going to go that direction right now. And if he does attack, he will have to split his forces basically in half, and I could come in there and capture one or the other half of the territory. Yeah, so I think that's my solution to this little problem. And we'll leave it at that, I think. I don't think there's anything else I could add to the mix. Yeah, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with that for right now. All right, gentlemen. Oh, this guy's in port here. These guys are not in port. These guys don't need to be in port, but you know what? We're gonna leave them there. This guy doesn't need to go in port. That guy's in port. Those guys are in port. These guys are up here. Yeah, I think I'm pretty happy with that. Hey guys, thanks all for watching. Sorry for the long kind of turn. Talk to you later. Cheers.